What's up, everybody? Welcome to Is It Watchable's Real Spiel. I'm your host, Paul, and today I'm talking about Halloween specials that probably haven't crossed your mind in a while. Now, let me be clear, this is not a list of the best Halloween specials. More than a few on this list kind of suck. No, these are those primetime television specials that you might have caught growing up as a kid and then it just kind of went away. And now you're older and you kind of remember seeing them, but you're not sure, and it's been years, your memory's kind of foggy, maybe you dreamed it. That's what I'm talking about. And just so we're on the same page as to what type of program I'm referring to, now, some of you millennials and members of Generation Z will never be able to fully understand the effect that had on the generations before you. When we saw that pop up on our wood grain cabinet televisions, we lost our little minds. Why? Because to kids from those generations, it meant one of the most magical things was about to happen. Cartoons at night. I realize for some of you that might not seem that impressive, but before the time of 24/7 children's entertainment networks, when your father's favorite show was bumped for a Halloween special that you'd already seen 3 times before, it was like, for that one night, kids won. Unfortunately, outside of the annual showing of The Great Pumpkin and Halloween-themed episodes of existing shows and cartoons, the Halloween special as we knew it is kind of a thing of the past. So that's why I figured, why not take a look at some you might have forgotten about or even doubted your sanity for remembering. For anyone old enough to read between 1980 and 1995, the Far Side comics were kind of like memes in print form. Hilarious single-panel jokes that quickly went viral on refrigerators and office cubicle walls everywhere. I could show 100 of those, but you get the point. They were funny and wildly popular. And in 1994, we got a Halloween special called Tales from the Far Side. It featured the same illustration style and comedic tone of the comics, but was a full-blown animated special consisting of a series of sketches that poked fun at various horror cliches. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of clips to show because they're kind of hard to come by, just like the special itself, but if you're lucky enough to stumble across it, check it out. It's really funny. It's just that outside of hardcore fans, it's mostly been forgotten. There is a sequel, however, called Tales from the Far Side 2 that didn't actually air here in the US, but as of right now, you can check it out on YouTube, so that's something. Now, I wasn't even born when the Munsters and the Addams Family first aired on network television back in the 1960s, but I did catch them in syndication as a kid growing up in the late 70s and 80s, and I love them. And as shows already rooted in horror, even if they were funny, they were a no-brainer to get the Halloween special treatment. So, in 1977, we got the made-for-TV movie Halloween with the new Addams Family. Not sure why they're the new Addams Family, since the entire original cast reprises their roles, but whatever. It was cool to see those guys again, including a 19-year-old Wednesday Addams. Not shabby. As the family prepares for Halloween, some criminals attempt to steal the family fortune by posing as various family members and relatives. Also, Gomez's brother Pancho, who's always had a thing for Morticia, is there paying a visit. The movie's not great by any stretch of the imagination and definitely loses some of its charm after more than 10 years since the original went off the air, and seeing these guys in color doesn't really work for some reason. But it can be a kind of campy, nostalgic treat if you're looking for that kind of thing. Remember Claymation? It was like not as good as traditional animation and yet not as good as computer animation. It wasn't good. But that didn't stop the same people that brought us those annoying California Raisins commercials that our parents love so much for some reason, probably that Marvin Gaye song, from bringing us 1991's Claymation comedy of horrors. It was about a couple of pigs and their snail friend who, while testing a carnival ride, uncovered the journal of Dr. Frankenstein that tells him of an all-powerful monster he created. So our heroes go to his castle in search of said monster. Also, there's a Halloween party in progress when they get there. I'm not even gonna lie and tell you I remember this. I do remember the Claymation Christmas special from 1998, and these are the same people that brought us the PJ starring Eddie Murphy, which I kinda liked. But this one I didn't even see until I watched it for this episode, and while it might give some of you guys the warm fuzzies and memories of sitting too close to one of those hulking standard definition CRT televisions, I don't think I missed much. Who the hell's Raggedy Ann? A character obviously popular enough in 1979 to get her own Halloween special. Except, not really. While I was certainly aware of Raggedy Ann, to find the true target audience, you might want to go talk to your grandmother, or if she's a younger grandmother, she might refer you to your great-grandmother. You see, Raggedy Ann was introduced way back in 1918 with a doll that was marketed alongside a series of books. She was definitely popular for like half a century, but by the polyester-clad, drug-fueled, disco-dancing 70s, 6-year-old me wasn't exactly clamoring for Raggedy Ann, but again, cartoons at night? I was watching. It's about a sad boy with a mean Halloween-hating aunt who Raggedy Ann and her brother Andy match up with an equally sad pumpkin to brighten everyone's Halloween spirits. Was it good? I don't know, didn't matter. Against 8 is Enough or Real People or whatever else was on that night in 1979, the cartoon's gonna win. A lot of holiday specials like to put the holiday itself on the line with some overly simple plot device that threatens to cancel the big day. In the case of 1991's The Last Halloween, 2 kids have to stop a local mad scientist played by Rhea Perlman from completely draining a lake that supplies power to the town's candy factory. Also, there are aliens. The special was produced by the legendary Hanna-Barbera, who opted to use CGI animation instead of the trademark look of their traditional animation. The results weren't great because, you know, CGI in 1991. Admittingly, this one isn't all that obscure. Most people are aware that it exists, but I bet if you took a poll, most people haven't actually seen it. And there's probably a good reason for that. It's not good. The story is nearly identical to the classic How the Grinch Stole Christmas in that the Grinch prepares to descend Mount Crumpet with his dog Max to terrorize the Who's down in Whoville. But instead of a sleigh, he has a wagon full of nightmares, and instead of being thwarted by a little girl Who, he's thwarted by a little boy Who. You could argue that this is a prequel to How the Grinch Stole Christmas because, as you might recall, at the end of that one, his heart grew 3 sizes and he stopped being such a jerk. But in this one, he's still a complete D-bag, so I'm not sure where it falls on the timeline. The biggest problem with Halloween as Grinch Night, however, might be the voice work.
A wonderful night for Grinch Night.
Not that it's bad, but it's not Boris Karloff, who we associate so strongly with the Grinch since he passed away about 8 years before this premiered. You can find the special pretty easily on various video formats and right here on YouTube, but if you've avoided seeing it for this long, why stop now? To many of us, me included, this one only existed as a kind of ghostly memory fragment living at the very backs of our brains, just out of reach and slightly out of focus, so we could never really remember it clearly. If not for the internet and YouTube, many of us would still be wondering if it was real or not. And I know people like to throw the term fever dream around pretty liberally, but that's exactly what this cartoon felt like. When we watch cartoons, we expect the characters to look, I don't know, cartoony, right? Not like real people, but everything in Witch's Night Out, characters and artwork, just seems a little off. The story follows 2 kids, Small and Tender, who are frustrated that their costumes aren't scary enough. So they summon a witch who helps them by turning them into real versions of their costumes. It has a weird, surreal feeling to it that, as a kid, kind of creeped me out, even though it's not really a scary story. And the music didn't help things.
Halloween, witch, magic, Halloween, Halloween, Halloween.
Now, Witch's Night Out never really went away. It aired fairly regularly from its 1978 release all the way up through the 90s, and as of the recording of this video, you can watch it in its entirety right here on YouTube. Yup, Paul Lynde, because, you know, Halloween, Paul Lynde, I don't know. For you kiddos out there who have no clue who Paul Lynde is, I don't know what to tell you. He was the flamboyant center square on Hollywood Squares.
Your wife just isn't interested at all in romance. Now, will giving her male hormones help?
Well, just how would you do that?
The flamboyant Uncle Arthur on Bewitched.
Hi. Excuse me for not getting up, but my feet are killing me.
The flamboyant voice of Templeton the Rat from the Charlotte's Web cartoon.
Oh, it was rich, my friends. Rich.
Dude was flamboyant, but also funny. So in 1976, ABC gave us the Paul Lynde Halloween special, basically a variety show with a number of sketches, musical numbers, and guests, including Tim Conway, Florence Henderson, Donnie Marie, and Kiss, because their manager was probably high. The special only aired once, so most people watching this probably didn't catch it on network television the first time around, but thanks to the vast library of digitized media we have at our disposal, you can currently catch this bizarre piece of camp on Amazon Prime. Well, that's my list, and I'm sure like every other list out there, there are more than a few notable omissions. Pac-Man, Fat Albert, the Halloween tree, but, you know, you gotta stop somewhere. Anyway, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out my movie reviews and future reel spiels. And guys, do us a favor, subscribe.